What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. The Houston Rockets had an absolutely perfect draft. I loved what they did in this draft this year. Thompson and Cam Whitmore particularly. Those two very, very excellent picks in my opinion. I'm going to break those picks down. Why I love the Rockets, future, where they project to be down the line. They got a lot of good things coming. Before I do, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and if you like this kind of content, please like the video. But the Rockets knocked this draft out the park. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. What would you rank their draft? I give it an A+. We'll start with Thompson because he was the number 4 pick in the draft. And before the draft, when the Rockets fell to 4, everybody was like, oh man, we're going to miss out on Vic, Scoot, Brandon Miller. And kind of like everybody was kind of trashing them a little bit for, or laughing at them for falling to 4. But they got probably... what was on the board was the best player available and the best fit for them because he's a natural point guard. And this is something the Rockets don't really have as a natural point guard. Jalen Green is a 2. He's a bucket getter. Kevin Porter Jr. is almost the exact same kind of thing, kind of a combo guard. Thompson is a raw, natural point guard that has great passing, is very good in transition, very, very good defensively, kind of fits everything the Rockets needed, and they got it. He's also incredibly creative when he has the ball in his hands, especially in transition, filling those lanes, making those right reads. And I think that's something that is going to really help Jabari Smith Jr. in particular because people were calling him a bust. But it's like you got to understand the context of his situation. There's a big man that needs somebody to set him up. And they didn't have that last year. Jalen Green's not a natural point. So you get Thompson in here now who can create easy looks for Jabari Smith Jr. I think you'll see a better version of him. It's going to make life easier. It's going to make life easier for Jalen Green because he's not going to have as much, playmaking duties on him. He's going to be able to just do what his strengths are, go get buckets. It's going to help with like Tari Eason, Alperen Sengun. It's going to help a lot of these guys because they got a natural point finally. I feel like he just complements the rest of the roster's game so well, and I can't wait to see Thompson play because this was like perfect scenario for them right there at 4. You got the guy you wanted, you got the guy that fits in need, and he was the best player on the board. Now, Cam Whitmore was a draft night story for sure because this dude was a consensus top 5 to 10 pick going into the draft, and he fell all the way to 20. And I feel like if you're certain teams, because he's a project player, he's got a lot of raw, untapped potential, and a lot of teams were getting worried because of his medical concerns and wondering if he even cares about basketball, which every time we have this argument that like, oh, does he even really love the game? The guy ends up being really good. Like, look at Anthony Edwards, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram. Like, all those guys had those same concerns, and they all turned out just fine. So I'm not even going to worry about does he really love the game. He's an 18-year-old kid that has a lot of untapped raw scoring potential. This Cam Whitmore could easily be a 20-point per game scorer, 20-plus point per game scorer in the NBA. Things he got to work on is his passing, his playmaking, and his decision-making. But you won't really have to do a lot of that on this team because those duties are, delegated to Thompson, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter. Like, that's not going to be a big deal as a rookie for him. I think defensively he's got a lot of untapped potential too. And when you're picking at 20, this is what I was alluding to earlier. If you're a team that's trying to win a championship, like a lot of these teams that are picking later, Houston's not trying to win a championship this year. When you're picking there, you're looking for guys that can help immediately and can be good players like off the rip. So you get a lot of 2, 3, 4-year college players getting picked at this point. But Cam Whitmore, he's an 18-year-old kid. If you're the Rockets, this is high upside, high reward. You have no choice, really no reason not to take Cam Whitmore in this situation because it's only benefits you. Worst case scenario, he just ends up being a bust. But you picked him at 20. You didn't pick him at 5. So you got great value at the spot. A guy has a lot of potential, can get buckets from everywhere on the floor, showed a lot of very good flashes on defense, which this team lacked defense last year. So you're going to get somebody that can do that, and that's a win. When you get a guy that could have gone at 5 and you got him at 20, that's a dub all the way around. And I think the thing with Cam is that people kind of question because he's a very quiet guy, but I think he's going to end up being a very, very good NBA player, and I think his personality and the way he kind of plays the game will fit very, very well with Ime Udoka. I think that you're giving Ime a guy that's raw, and you can mold him into what you want him to be. And I think Udoka is probably one of the best coaches in order to getting guys to play in a certain style, to play for others. Like, look at what Boston did with him. Obviously, they completely turned the whole season around because they bought in. And, I think giving Ime Udoka a guy like Thompson now that can go play make for everybody, you're giving him Cam Whitmore and go get buckets. and can play some defense, you can really mold out a really nice future for Houston. I can't wait to see how this team develops over the next 2-3 years. I think in terms of young cores, they're definitely in the top three. It's between them, OKC, and probably Orlando at this point. But because I really like what OKC's doing too. OKC's got a very, very good thing going on over there. But Houston's definitely a great argument for being the best young core in the league. You're looking at Thompson. You got Jabari Smith Jr. You got Jalen Green. You got Alperen Şengün, who was awesome last year. You got Tari Eason. Now you have Cam Whitmore. There's just so much untapped potential. I can't wait to see what Coach Udoka does with this. And I think this team, they got the opportunity to make some noise next year and really, really be a team that comes up from nothing. And I love it because I feel like they drafted well in the past few years. They just haven't had the right system set up for their guys. And now they're given kind of like a clean reset. They got like $30-40 million in cap space. So maybe you go get a guy like Brook Lopez. I've heard a lot of rumors about that. I've heard the James Harden things, but I think with the addition of Thompson, kind of simmers those down a little bit. But yeah, you can go get a couple good players a couple good vets that can really fill out this roster and be great leadership guys under Udoka, and kind of, you can see the chain of command with that coming into fruition. So I think the Rockets could be potentially a very, very surprising team. I think they could be next year's OKC for what they were this year. OKC was right there in that play-in run, was, Giddey, Shai Gilgeous, a lot of guys coming up and playing great basketball. I think the Rockets could be no different. Overall, I give their draft an A to an A+. Thought it was awesome. Got the best player on the board at both spots, and I think that's solid. That's a dub. No matter any way you look at it, their season will be a lot of fun to watch. Summer League's going to be a lot of fun to watch if you're a Rockets fan. I'll be excited to tap in and watch some of those games. Good looking draft for them. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and if you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. But I like what the Rockets did. Solid draft. They couldn't have done any better in my opinion. I'm done. Peace.